Curmiah.
Curmiah. I love your work. I think it's brilliant. I think it's very, very, very good indeed. And it's good to have it coming from a young woman as opposed to a young man talking about the subject matter. I think it's great. If you could add images to your work, I think that it would be more.
I intend to do that. I intend to progress to doing that.
Yeah.
One of the things I've tried to start doing with my poetry is to experiment with music to it, because I think musicality gives it more of a listening quality. People can actually listen to it, listen to it in the car, listen to it wherever you're going, just to listen to it. So I'm trying to, I do performance as well, not just poetry. So I do dance, I do acting, I'm a bit of a, So one of my things is I have some poems that are quite long. That one was long. I have long ones that are longer. And they're more narrative poems. So one of the projects I've done in the past is have one, it was called Exploding Barbie. And it was literally about challenging female stereotypes and about woman breaking out of her skin and feeling comfortable in who she is and not just trying to please the public eye and, the ideals of people. So, I do intend to do that because I've done it with performance, with drama, with dance, poetry, in the background.
Instagram, etc. I see a different reflection, and I see a sort of change in the mentality of how the younger, I don't know what your age group is now, but sort of 16 upwards, I see their attitudes being slightly, a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more laddish. I mean, how do you think, does that have any impact on the way you see the world?
I think maybe they are more outgoing, but they're also more sexualized. Like they're still considered to be different. Girls are still considered to be very different from boys as children. Like they're still taught very differently how to grow up. They're encouraged very differently how to behave.
So what do you think perpetuates that? As a child, your parents basically set the ground rules for you.
I don't think they mean to, but it's just accepted.
It's education. I mean, come on. It's like, why do girls think they should be bad at maths? I was never bad at maths. I was good at it. And then it's like you end up in top sets with only boys. But that's got nothing to do with the fact that girls didn't have the potential to be good. It's because that they were scared of being good. Maybe he won't like me or whatever. There's all of these connotations. The teacher assumes you'll be bad, so when you get the question wrong, they don't even take the time to answer it with you. There's all of this going on. It goes across race, gender. It's there.
Now, in the work that you're putting out to the public, what is it you're hoping to achieve through that? Or is it just you expressing yourself? Because obviously we've sat here and we've watched the influences, what you're trying to portray. So me as an individual, I'm just trying to understand what is it you're trying to say to me? What do I
Well,
fathom?
for me, it's more so a form of expression, of expressing myself, but also express myself to affect other people, to get other people to relate, and to get them to want to. Because I work in a school and I work with young people as well. So a lot of the time it's about showing them the way to express, to get them to share their feelings and to, just contemplate about the world that they live in and how they can affect it and change it.
As well as we're still encouraged and we can do more things, you still have to be really attractive. It's seen as to be successful, you have to be really hot as well.
Exactly.
Like in celebrity culture.
It's a bonus. It's a bonus to be good at what you're doing, because first you should be good to look at.
And I wouldn't say it because I was brought up in an equal household, but then when I stepped outside of that, I was like, what's going on? Like,
having gained recognition in my own country, now she has been recognised in St. Lucia, and she's incredibly young, and I'm envious. So can you tell us what's been happening there?
So this Lucian Pride, I wrote it about almost 3 years ago now, in 2010. I took part in Miss St. Lucia UK, the pageant, and I came first runner-up, so I didn't win, but I came first runner-up. And then St. Lucian Independence was on the 22nd of February, and in the week coming up to that, the Monday, I thought, where's my poem that I wrote about St. Lucia? You know, I think I should share it with everybody. So I did it. I tried to do a quick YouTube video, posted it, sent it out there, and then they started sharing it. One of our electoral parties took it and they posted it again. It was played on national television, St. Lucia, and on the radio. And I had an interview for one of our teenage magazines on the cover of it. Have my interview centre. And I'm really looking forward to going home in July.
I'm really amazed at what you did. It's quite insightful. Where did the inspiration come from?
Which one are you looking
The using the pubic hairs.
And whose was it?
It was actually this man over here.
That's one way of getting your sex life out into the open.
I suppose it came from when I was in secondary school, there was a lot of pressure to more and more, even though I wasn't in a relationship, to just get rid of all my body hair.
Because you said you've got longer poems, do you see yourself ever writing a book? You started now.
Book, I want to. I've been trying to get myself to. I need to find the discipline of writing every day just to add on to and build up to that. But songwriting is something that I'm trying to get into. Songwriting, definitely. I think I'd start with songwriting and then progress to the novel. I have many years to build up to the novel. I have titles though. I have titles. So I need to build up the narrative.
Well, basically function is very important, and in a way jewellery is an outlet because it doesn't have to function other than it should highlight something or decorate you in a certain way. And for me, that question's almost reflected back because I feel like, especially with this question of the woman being this kind of servant that holds you in place, and she's kind of, she's a functional element, that's the hidden bit, and I'm turning it into a decorative piece and kind of making a comment on that. I don't know. It has an interesting relationship to being functional, but I don't know how close it should be tied to function. So I'm at the point of deciding whether or not it should turn into more sculptural and remove the element of function. So instead of it being like a chair.
So that postcode, and in my head, I thought of boys. In terms of they've narrowed their field, they've marginalised themselves through a postcode.
Yeah.
And what you are doing as a strong woman is telling them the world is bigger. So your role for me, and I'm seeing it, is one of a sister, one of a mother, one of trying to encourage people to look beyond just the very narrow field that they're in, and listening to all of you challenging what people are being exposed, are supposed to accept, because they're being fed it through various media now to be less than, but just work on what is very banal in terms of, whether they've got the weave, whether they've got the boobs, rather than the world is more than that. And I say to you that what you're doing, I think is absolutely fantastic, but equally.
I like the way you performed. It was very, very, very graceful. How you executed your thing.
Thank you very much.
What they're doing is fantastic, but what I've noticed is the confidence with which they do it. A lot of us have been in there, we've trained, we've studied, etc., but I don't think I could have sat there at their age and done this presentation. So I think it's fantastic, their confidence and the support that they get from you.
This is unique, to get 5 women that are doing something constructive and No, don't even try. Don't even try and twist my
What are
words.
you trying to say? That we don't do constructive things?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Don't even try and twist it. You got some laughs out of it, but I'm just saying, thank you for being here. It's unique. I would never have had this opportunity to see what you're doing and get a little insight into what's going on. So thank you for that.
Excellent.
I'm Alexander the Great Calypsonian from Trinidad. So when you talked about Little Black Boy and Gypsy, I was there that year when he did it. The gentleman there was saying, grew up in a matriarchal society. So did I. Wonderful. Lots of aunties, very powerful women, and a very powerful mum who showed me the way. This is called International Women's Day. I want to talk about an inequality that still persists in our society. It seems that women are not considered to be as worthy as a man of making the big money. We are living in an age where we have to now engage with reality in all of its forms. Gender, color, creed or caste, prejudices cannot last. Women working hard for social reform. Think of Fibo de Sia, Orabia Asantiwa, Amy Ashwood, Gavi and Gloria. To take one day and designate it should be International Women's Day is okay. But I would say we should dedicate each and every single day